got into my job, my career started with as a salesperson. So when I got into that salesperson, then in 3 months I was very sure that this is not my field. Whenever you're at a leadership level, I sit at the apex. So at my lab, so I think about the policy. But when I'm at the ground floor, the shop floor, I think as an analyst. We are saying that okay, tomorrow we want to become the pharmacy of the world. We are preparing, we are getting high-tech technologies, we are getting new developments, everything, but we will be missing the skill set, basic skill set. AI is being there, so like you have to understand AI. You cannot be away from the AI because AI is going to be a part of your life.
Absolutely.
But humans will be a part of AI always. AI is not going to replace humans anywhere. First 5 years of career, you should not think about money, position, nothing. You just assimilate. Being in a company for very short term is like you're not even getting that gist of the work what you're doing. You're not taking the responsibility, or maybe you've taken the responsibility, but to execute that responsibility and to get the fruits out of it, you're not been there.
Welcome to the show. Today we have Dr. Rupesh Kelaskar. He is Vice President, Corporate Quality Control and Analytical R&D at FDC Limited. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
So you have done your PhD in Analytical Chemistry and you have driven a transition from academics to industry. Can you tell us about that journey?
Yeah, I've done my PhD in analytical chemistry from Institute of Science. So I completed my MSc. I got into my job, my career started with as a salesperson to say. So when I got into that salesperson, then in 3 months I was very sure that this is not my field. So I was looking out for my own type of career because I've done my PhD, MSc in analytical chemistry. So I started looking out for that and finally got with Tata Pharma, which was again a Merind-Tata Pharma. There I started my career as a pharmaceutical, like testing analysis in a QC lab as an analyst, as a trainee. Slowly I shifted to Cipla, where I was working with their testing labs and then developing methods. And then when I got into IVAX, so IVAX was a multinational company from US. So it was a hardcore R&D company, development for formulations. So in that I had a chance to pursue my PhD. So 4.5 years it took me to get into it. In that I shifted my job again. I shifted to Bangalore, and then in Bangalore I was able to complete my PhD. So this is the journey. Finally, it's like it was my thanks to my guide Dr. Nandini Shedgiri, who represented me with the Mumbai University to have an opportunity to work at my place in Bangalore and pursue that PhD in Mumbai University.
Oh, that is really.
It was a great. That time Professor Dr. Sathe was there from Ruya College, so he also contributed me, and Professor Magre, who was when I did my BSc from Kirti College, he was a principal over there. So at that time, when I was doing my PhD, he was a dean of Mumbai University. So fortunately, all helped me together. I could get my PhD in analytical chemistry then.
So what was your area of work in your PhD?
Yeah, I did my PhD in basically synthesis and characterization and then formulating. So these oxidolone derivatives. So I did some synthesis projects and all, which of that I did some antimicrobial activities. After those, the drug which was having the highest antimicrobial activity, then with my formulation development colleague support, I could formulate a capsule. Then we did some market characterization, compared the dissolution characterization, everything. Did some new techniques like using a new PLC and then developing dissolution methods, assay and all those things. And then I could finally submit. So like it was from a DMF to compiling a dossier. So complete 4.5 years I took into this, developing the product, then develop not in the just the API, the drug product, and finally developing the methods also. So I was able to submit. So during the evaluation also from the university, I got an appreciation saying that this is something, a different kind of work. It's not something limited to an area where you just synthesize and do some derivatives. So we went in a different way. So that is how, it was, and it was more related to my work also. So I could get that support, and thanks to my Apotex and IVAX, my management over there. So specifically, I'll thank to Dr. Pariza Delchinana and Dr. Sanjay Kapadia, who were the key to support me and encouraging factors for getting my PhD done.
It's very interesting, and it's very important to have good supervisors for us to show the right direction. So, if I may ask, today, if the same area of work is given, would you do anything different in that research?
Definitely yes. But again, it's like considering the changing scenario. So I will put more of IT into my research work also. So it will be a faster. So like when I see that when I was doing my research work, so I used to visit a lot of the libraries, go for online journals and then all those things, searching for them. Practically you have to go through everything, read to everything. But with current the scenario, you can get information at a click. So with that, the maybe like you will have to have more complex type of research to be done very easy in a factor. So definitely, but I would like to.
That's nice. So, before pharma, you've also been into the textile industry.
Uh,
So, how did
n-
that happen?
Not actually a textile industry. Actually, I was working with a chemical company called named by Johnson Mather Chemicals. So there I got an opportunity to be a sales engineer. So sales and engineer means I have to be an service engineer as I have to be a sales also. I did couple of installations at the Fisher Institute of India also, where some UV spectrophotometer. But again, going to people, talking to them at that time was not a part of my cup of tea. So I was not able to do that, and then finally said, okay, now I have to shift to the labs. So I went ahead with that.
So, would you say that you are more of an introvert or an extrovert?
I was an introvert. I'm not an extrovert also.
Okay. So, how much of your PhD has helped you to tune yourself into the leadership role that you're doing?
Yeah. See, when it comes to heading an analytical labs,
Hmm.
maybe it a QC or maybe an analytical research R&D, the basic thing is like how you get your knowledge from. And when you're getting knowledge, you're maturing in that way also. So when you're going for a research, for referring to any research paper or journal, so you also read about the person who has published these papers, scientists and all those things. So we get an inspiration from them to learn from them. And fortunately, there were a couple of things like during my career also, I had a couple of people who were or who are scientists also. So they are the role models for us also.
Coming to your experience at FTC, you've been here in this company for a very long time now. And we live in a scenario where people keep changing companies at a very rapid rate. What is keeping you there? And uh, how would you like to say that in your own point of view?
Yeah. See, with FDC now I almost completed 11 years, so, and this is my highest tenure. Before that, I was with Apotex, where I was almost for 9 years.
Yes.
So I believe in long-term career, so not in a short-term something changing world. But the only thing I was able to get fixed with FDC is that I got an opportunity to handle both the things, like my expertise in analytical development as well as my expert into QC compliance, quality areas also. So that kept me binding, and FDC is such a company. So like we have grown a lot in last 10 years. I will say we were completely on paper. The systems were completely on paper. And then we are now on the verge of getting completely paperless for the laboratory specifically. So this is what has kept me. So every year there's a challenge. Every year there's some new implementation, new softwares. So we have implemented even software for computer validation, which is again paperless. So our labs, our QC labs are completely paperless. So calculations, and we are still further developing something, finding new software so that the productivity increases more and more. So we have seen, because when I was an analyst, I used to spend more time on documenting rather than doing my testing or analysis job. So now which we have focused more that okay, my people will do more analysis and do less on the documentation or the paperwork or the calculation. That will be taken care by the software. So this is how that kept me a long term. Okay, stick to FDC and continue with that. And of course, it has paid me also. So I joined as a general manager in FDC. So I have accelerated. I've come to an vice president level. So in every company wherever I worked, I have escalated. I've come to a next position by way of my performance only.
What all disadvantages do you see where people spend short amount of period in an organization?
See, the most disadvantage. I have been taking some guidances or educational to some education institute in my native or somewhere where people are coming from remote areas. So they have to travel to the colleges and also some guidances I have given to them, which I tell them every time that first 5 years of career, you should not think about money, position, nothing. You just assimilate. You just take in everything, whatever comes with. So I have shared every time my experience, how I have traveled, what is my journey to this level I have come to. So being in a company for very short term is like you're not even getting that gist of the work what you're doing. You're not taking the responsibility, or maybe you've taken the responsibility, but to execute that responsibility and to get the fruits out of it, you're not been there. So actually you don't be there what you have invested into. And if you are really interested to invest, then you would like to stay back.
Commitment to work.
Yes.
So FTC today is the largest ORS manufacturer. So how do you see the landscape of quality leadership that you're currently into?
See, as far as I'm thinking, like currently my directors are very much supportive, our managing director are supportive in terms of investing into techniques or technology. We are developing new techniques, technology, and in fact, we have been given assignments to get more improvement into techniques and technology so that we can be more productive and to ensure that we give always affordable medicines. So if you see the FDC product price list is always at the low, so that because our management aim is to ensure that we always manufacture efficacious, safe and affordable medicines. So that's the reason means like we are always being encouraged as a leader. We have been participative in every decision the management takes. It's not about only the lab decisions, but also an entire as an organization. Whenever decisions were taken, we are definitely involved in that.
Okay. So you lead quality as well as the R&D, and both are slightly, they have different cultures. So how do you manage both?
Yeah, see, actually, I had the quality control, not actual the quality assurance part.
Yes.
So, quality control and analytical both are means like both are related to the labs. And if you see the current scenario for the inspections happening, FDA requirements, even any agency you take PICS or any agency coming in for the audit, the expectations are same because the guidances, the requirements are getting harmonized. The requirement, the thinking of the inspectors are getting harmonized, and there is a mutual recognition between the regulatory agencies different also. So because of that, it becomes very easier if you adopt a common system everywhere. What is the requirement of FD or any agency that whatever you are doing, you have to write it. So any experiment being conducted in the analytical research, if you document it very well, there's nothing to comply. So even our analytical labs, R&D analytical labs are paperless. So we have a software which takes care of all recording of the instruments and record of your observations and everything. And finally, when if you go back after maybe after 10 years also, you have record of all the 10 whatever experiment conducted now. So this is like that's the reason it was very simple to implement, and being knowledgeable into analytical R&D as well as into QC, that gave the confidence about it. So yes, we can do it.
How do you manage analytical sciences where they are, you have been one before years back, where they are more precision specific, they give importance to the depth and they search for evidence. And when it comes to the leadership and management, how do you actually tackle them? And I'm sure there must be some difference of opinion and clash that might be happening when it comes to work.
See, there are always differences of opinion everywhere. So, and whenever I be at the means like now my at my this level also, I go at my site level or go at my R&D labs also. I always interact with my the last end user who is the analyst role. First, I try to be whenever I go into the lab, I am myself as an analyst, as on the shop floor working over there. I try to identify what issues they face, what are the issues they're facing, what are the troubles what they're facing, and try to resolve them. So once you resolve them, they also see that somebody is there for not just taking work out of them, but what is the trouble to handle that. So this makes it very much easier to handle that. There are conflicts. People come up with the conflicts also. He's been partial to me. My boss is partial to me. Then we do that. We literally do that exercise, calling this person together, sitting that boss together. Okay, let's discuss this out. So we don't want conflicts to be. If conflicts are there, then definitely it gives a not a good culture in the lab also. So when you're talking about okay, how the leadership, so this is the leadership like whenever you're at a leadership level, I sit at the apex, so at my lab, so I think about the policy. But when I'm at the ground floor, the shop floor, I think as an analyst.
Wow. How did this mind shift take place, and how do you switch yourself?
First thing in my mind, I always put that I'm an analyst. I'm not a VP or a leader or
Mm.
somewhere. That makes easier.
Wow. So, what is one common mistake that people make when it comes to quality control? That is something which they assume, maybe even when they join, and then eventually they learn and understand what it actually means.
See, currently, if I talk about, I'm not sure whether it's a generation gap or what people call, but I've seen over the periods, like the knowledge and skill set is missing now.
Mm.
The just what we had whenever we used to get any work has been given, we used to be always there for working. It doesn't matter about the time or day or anything like that. But nowadays that is missing completely. So which is really a troublesome for the entire pharmaceutical industry and not pharma. I've been discussing with other industry members also for our instrument manufacturers. They're facing that issue. Same with their service engineers also. So nobody is ready to assimilate new information.
Mm.
Everybody wants, I'll say, a 9 to 5 job. That is going to create a trouble. And when we are saying that, okay, tomorrow we want to become the pharmacy of the world,
Mm.
we are preparing, we are getting high tech technologies, we are getting new developments, everything, but we will be missing the skill set, basic skill set. So I think we need to focus on that also. Then probably we can achieve what we are deciding.
Has this happened because now that we have different categorization for every department? Previously, like let's say a decade or a two back, one candidate used to handle several departments. Now there is specialization in each and every other branch. Does that make it as a disadvantage to learn more, that quest to learn more to understand the work?
I see. If you're talking about my own view, I consider yes, it's a disadvantage because like if I'm saying that if I have a person who is dedicated doing only one particular type of analysis, and now over the period of 10 years, 12 years, 15 years of experience is coming, and I want to have a leadership role to be given to
Mm.
that person, but if he is not knowledgeable, if his spectrum is not that big, how would we assign that job responsibility? So somewhere some organizations, I will not take any name, but so some organizations have kept their role confined, saying that okay, we need to retain people because it was happening somewhere that, as you said, 2 years people stay back. So the minute person understands or learns a new technique, technology, they immediately change the job because they have added something to their appended their CVs
Mm.
with some additional technique. So then companies started, okay, we will not give anything to them. So to because ultimately investors are there for getting the product out in the market. So if people start changing, there's always a gap, always remaining. The vacancies are there, then the productivity lacks. So people struggle. So that's the reason there was a in between there was a complete shift also that okay, we will do that. When we tried to do in our same company also, somehow our management also was not in that concept because we should teach people,
Yes.
learn, let people have that knowledge, leave it to the people. If they want to stay with us, they will stay. If they don't want to stay, we cannot tie them up. So this is, but still FDC continues to make people, to train people as they are ready. We don't want to dump responsibility, but if they are ready to learn and assimilate any technique and every technique, we are there to help them out.
That's nice. So in 2019, FTC moved on to 100% paperless validation. Can you tell us more about that?
See, we have implemented the Valigensis software specifically for the paperless uh, documentation. So we have primarily used it for the computer system validation. So our FDC has a policy, or we say we have a policy as that whenever any new technique, technology, software, whenever we get into it, it is being thoroughly tested, tried at our either analytical lab or we have a corporate quality control group. So where these people are expertise into everything. So we have done that way. So they we test it rigorously and then we move ahead further. So similarly, likewise, when we implemented this software, so as you said earlier, our R&D is also in the same kind of system.
Mm.
A system where if you see that there is no difference between the quality control and the analytical research lab. So in such system, we wanted to have this environment. So we have started with that validation. We did all the instrument qualifications and everything into this software, which was quite successful. Then we started developing some templates on the method validations. We were successful in that. And now in the verge of rolling this everything to our site level. So that site will have everything ready now. They just have to implement and start using it. They don't have to do development.
How did this idea, how did this first trigger?
See, that is the main advantage to work in an Indian company, Indian multinational company, I'll say. Why? Because that's a challenge, I will say, to work in a limited resources.
Mm.
Why limited resources? When I was not at a junior level, I used to say, what is a company has so much of, I can't spend. But when I'm sitting at a leadership level, at a decision making level, I can see that because I have to make an affordable medicine. So how to make it? So wherever I can cut my costs, where I can save, a small saving also does matter.
Mm.
So this is where we started. Okay, we can save where we can save my productivity into this, increase my productivity, save my manpower where. So this way we have done that. But in FDC, there has been a policy that we do not lay off people.
Okay.
So wherever any automation, anything way, we try to use people one or the other way. We give them assignment roles, something by, but we continue with them.
So after making this paperless validation, how much of improvement has happened and how far have you come?
See, first, the most advantage is like you go paperless. When that means that during the inspection, you do not have to keep searching for the documents. You are very sure all the pages are there. You are very sure all the pages are signed. So there is no concern because when I used to face inspection quite earlier, when I has to get a huge amount of file with the complete qualification document of an HPLC or anything, we used to before we go to the inspectors, you have to do and check what is there, what is there, what is there, everything. First, we used to be sure that okay whether the file is there or not. But with paperless validation, this fear is not there with you. Every data is there at your click, I'll say. So that is the most important advantage of having a paperless documentation.
When you started this paperless motion, how was the response from workers in the company as well as outside the company?
See, in the lab, I will say people, because whenever, as I told you earlier, I think first as an analyst. So whenever we wanted to have this implementation, when we finalized, okay, we have to go for LIMS or the software for anything, we presented to our all analyst complete group that this is going to be there and it's not complicated. We will take care of everything. Earlier, if I give an example, to enter a batch number
Yeah,
or to write a batch number of a chemical which is about 16, 17 digit, there is 90% probability of making a mistake,
mistake.
to miss a digit,
Absolutely.
something like that. But if I'm telling that, okay, you just have to scan the barcode, all the information is there available. So there was a positive response that way. So when you reach to down the line, who are the actual implementation or the actual end users, it becomes very easier for them to implement this and to make gain their confidence basically, and then you can implement it very easier. If you try to enforce the technology directly and tell them okay, then there's a resistance. So rather than going into a resistance mode, we should go in a supportive mode, adaptive mode, and then you can get into compliance better.
And from outside the company, did you see that other companies would also want to adapt such technologies, or was there any other such kind of response?
Yeah, we did get some responses from how it was implemented, what is was there for. So and we have given the real whatever advantages, disadvantages, and pains during this implementation. So implementing any software, paperless software specifically, is not a simple task.
Mm.
It takes lots of efforts. It takes lots of understanding, knowledge about it, and knowledge about your complete systems, what is happening in the company. Then it is yes easier for implement. The similar kind of responses were given to the all the other member who came upfrontly for information.
How much time did it take for this to get established
For,
fully?
for the side, our QC side, we took almost about 3.5 years
Okay.
because we went from the development, scratch development, and then testing, and then development again. So we did a journey good, but
So during this 3.5 years, was there any major loss in terms of manpower or financially?
no, I don't think so. We did not encounter any as such kind of, because in fact we are seeing that people who have left us from FDC, the analyst level or the supervisor level, in fact they have been telling that sir, there is a lot of pain over here. We need to do writing again.
So now you're into this IT automation as well. So given AI in the picture, how can you connect these two and how do you see the future of FTC?
See, the FDC, as I said, FDC, like 10 years back when I joined, or 11 years back when I joined, everything was pen paper. And now today we are talking about going to paperless. So we are on the verge of all automation, getting more and more automations to see that we are increasing the productivity and so that we have that reach to the people and we can grow in the market as well. So ultimately that is our aim goal over there to have this automation. Again, I mentioned that I had been mentioning in my earlier presentations or wherever I did my AI is being there. So like you have to understand AI. You cannot be away from the AI because AI is going to be a part of your life.
Absolutely.
But humans will be a part of AI always. AI is not going to replace humans anywhere. So this is what I mean. Like I've been telling everyone. So and this is the way, and that's the reason it's like to understand when I'm implementing AI or I'm implementing these softwares. I have done my PG in AI/ML, and then I'm still pursuing my MSc in data science now.
Wow. I guess that way is, I think, learning never stops.
Yeah, that's true.
So, do you see certain threats also with the introduction of AI?
See, as I told you, if you are not going to understand AI, then definitely there's a threat for you. But if you are going to understand, assimilate, and work with it, it is definitely going to be a friend for you. But it is going to be always an assistant. It is not going to replace you.
But with the introduction, do you see that the number of employees being reduced or the attitude of employees changing because now the task gets more automated?
Good question. To answer you, way back when I started my career in 1997, or I'll say when I was doing my MSc, at that time also I was doing my computer course, my basic computer application course. That time there was a fear in people that okay, the computers are coming, computers are coming. The people who are having knowledge of computers only will survive, and rest everybody will out of the job. But in fact, when computers came in, the amount of job opportunities increased the multifold. And probably I'm saying that when you assimilate that technique, the technique is going to be with you. Similar with AI also is going to happen. Robotics and everything is there, but to teach them, see when you talk about AI, it's just one layer. There are multi other layers below it. So like you need to have continuous training, continuous learning for them, continuous different scenarios to be given. And who will give them? It's us.
And when it comes to the analytical R&D, you see that the incorporation of AI with the instruments can be of much
Yes,
more benefit.
definitely. Yes. See, when we're talking about AI, so majorly if you talk about the labs, we are analytical R&D or we are QC lab, it's about more about predictive analytics, what we are talking about, where my instrument downtime is reduced. Before my instrument gets down and I lose the productive time, the instrument is already done up and means like before it breakdowns, it's already maintained properly and then we can go ahead with that. So that's going to be the most important part. Again, in terms of method development, if you talk about the AI tools will definitely help understanding the molecules, understanding the behavior, and if we give the information properly, feed the information, it is going to give a definite output. And those trials definitely again we need to run before we present it.
Absolutely. What kind of analytical instruments do you think would be more conducive to AI implementation?
I think most are like now if I talk about in any lab, 80% of the analysis is carried out by the HPLCs or UPLCs or
Chromatographies.
with chromatography basically. So I think more automation will be focused on the chromatography type of instruments on that.
Coming to chromatography, since you've been in the chemistry field and into the pharma, how do you see the landscape of such analytical instruments changing?
When say now you HPLCs and the HPLCs now we were talking about further is the next is UPLCs. So maybe further UPLC something else will be awaiting. We do not know. It is something in the development or something will happen. Or it may happen also that the other techniques which have been left out, if I talk about Raman spectroscopy,
Yeah.
again it has been explored as an identification tool, going back to your conventional IR, getting the samples, forming the pellets or ETR, whatever it is. But with Raman IR, you just go there in the warehouse, you can do your analysis, that's it. You do the identification is complete over there. So similar, there will be some other instruments and techniques will also evolve, come to a level whereby this AI will get into it. But again, AI will be again with the feed of information. It will not act on its own something to do it.
So you've went to different sites, QC sites in your life. What are the changes that you see, and what are the changes you even implemented in your own organization?
See, at site level, if I see, the most important thing is like the culture. So we have been sent a change shift in culture. When we were as an analyst, or I was an analyst over there. We never used to be afraid of work, given work. But over the period, we have seen people are not ready to work. So how to make them work, how to get the work out of them, that's the most important which is happening now. So making them understand the technique, giving some example how to do that. And when you work over there, basically now what is happening, there's a trend that okay, once a person becomes a manager or at a senior level, those people never work. We aren't able. But if you say that at my level also, if anybody challenges me, so this is not going to happen. Let's do it together. It will happen. Then this is an encouragement for them. So if this kind of shift is seen everywhere, probably not in FDC, but everywhere, people can understand. You be participative. Now the change is this way. You be participative, then you'll get the output of that.
Moving more into this note, when you see newcomers in the organization, do you see them as candidates who, when you observe, do you see them as candidates who have just come to work, or do you see them as someone who has come to work and learn and grow?
See, with now 30 years in industry, 20 to 30 years industry, so when people come in, we know very well what kind of attitude. We interact generally. When newcomers come in, we interact with them. See, we have a very short time to interact during the interviews, whatever we take. So when they come in, actually, when we also that time we also continuously interact with them. Whenever we get time through our managers or anything, we keep on understanding them. And this is how we identify the talents. What we do is like a person is having, every person is not equal. They have different talent, different understanding. So as per that, we try to utilize them. Some person is very good in wet chemistry analysis. Some person good is very in instrumental analysis. So accordingly, we try to means like take their skills, get the productivity done, but in simultaneous same way, we try to teach them the other techniques so that they don't be left alone.
And that way, that person lose interest as well,
Yes,
right?
and in some cases we do get like in fortunate in FDC, we see that there's an if you calculate and like the people who are leaving over there is not that very high because we are able to retain people by this way. See, after certain like everybody has that aspiration to be high. So definitely we also mean like we cannot stop them. So at that time we have to accept, we have to move on. So new people come in, we have to train them. So this is our role to train them continuously and then let them work.
How do you prepare them when there is any new project that is on pipeline? And let's say, even if there is some deadline that has to be met, how do you prepare them for that?
See, we when I say that he is the person who has joined as an analyst. So his job role is basically to do the testing, complete the testing, and give us the output. So first thing, as I tell, we as to the leaders who are there working on us, we make them understand that you are also an analyst first. So plan your work accordingly that this person is able to complete in the 8 hours to 9 hours maybe, and give the assignment in that way. And accordingly plan your project work and accordingly set the deadlines. Don't give an very too idealistic or too something which is like okay you're not able to fit in, but to just please somebody, don't give those timelines. So even to that, whenever the timelines will be given, we ourselves also sit together, assess what is there, and then practical thing we give them. So certain cases, yes, there are certain. So but by means of working together, putting some additional manpower somewhere, we get those done. But it always remains a challenge to plan and work.
So I'm curious to ask, so do you enjoy or do you miss the analyst who used to work in the lab, or do you enjoy the leader who is now managing people?
I always miss the analyst. So that's why when I go to my site, I always go inside the lab. Whenever I get a chance, I always go in the lab. And people say, "What you're doing in the lab?" And I said, I just want to take a round. What is happening? I just go touch the flask, beaker, so that feel is still there.
Absolutely, I resonate with that. We have few rapid round questions. One thing that tells you that a QC lab has a real scientific culture before you have seen a single result.
I'd say yes.
The biggest mistake Indian pharma company makes in analytical method validation.
Coming to decisions much faster without reviewing the results completely and then coming that okay, this method is validated.
Paper or digital validation. What does the industry still get wrong about this transition?
Digital validation.
Why?
Because unless and unless you understand what is digital, you will not you will not be able to implement completely, because the requirement of the guidance is also whatever you have done on paper, it should absolutely be replicated in your digital validation. If it is more, it is much acceptable. You cannot be have less. So I give examples like 2 into 2 is 4, 2 plus 2 is 4. But the minute you change the figure, the results change.
Absolutely. The one instrument or technology that most changed analytical quality control in your career.
HPLC.
Okay. What a PhD in analytical chemistry teaches you that experienced that if you had not done it, you would have never learnt about it.
Keep continuous learning. This is the way you explore yourself and to what depth you can go. So I have not found my depth, so I'm still learning.
Wow. One thing that the next generation of analytical scientists need to understand about quality leadership.
See, when you say about quality leadership, the person needs to understand what level he can work up to. Understand his own capability and then take the responsibility. Rather than taking the responsibility and getting to a failure, better understand own capability and then you take the responsibility. This is what
Okay. Where will pharmaceutical analytical science be in the next 10 years?
very difficult question, because I can say next 5 years what is going to happen in next 10 years is a very vast. If you had asked this question 11 years back, it was very easy to answer, because when my first appraisal, I had said to my manager over there that where you want to be in next 10 years. I said I want to be in the next opposite side. So I said 10 years you will be, every 2 years you will get promotion. I said why not? So but in 9 years I was at that level. So this is the way, and this is the way I'm telling you. So it can be done. It is not possible, but it has to be.
Okay. What are the suggestions or advice you would give for the next generation who would like to take the same role as you are today?
Keep assimilating knowledge, focus on the work what you have been assigned, and don't get distracted by your whatever, means like the feedbacks given by others, and then you can be into a much. See, every person cannot be a leader, but definitely who wants to be a leader can always be a leader.
Oh, that's a very good answer. What would you tell or advise for people attending Analytical Lab India?
I'll say Analytica India is a very good platform over here, where you see multiple people coming out to you, reaching out to you, different instruments, different techniques, different technology, for diverse, maybe it engineering and every whatever it is there. If you are understanding the technology, basically, then probably you get. I'll say it's more about assimilation, more knowledge assimilation. You get to know more, and then afterwards, it's a networking also.
So basically, you need that curiosity to
Yes.
know
See,
things
just
more than.
people coming into it, just roaming around doesn't make any sense. You go speak with the people, and I think the people who have participated, the exhibitors who have participated, I have not seen anywhere who is not ready to come and explain to you. They are always ready to explain to you what is this about, what is this technique about. It's not about a person who is from which company. I have not seen that also. So it's a really good platform for everyone to come visit Analytica and then explore it very well.
Okay. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for being patient and answering all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.